another topic I want to hit with you is Netflix and WB merger. I have yet to see anyone, have an opinion in favor of it. I want to know what you think.
Well, the consolidation of all of these media companies and production companies, everything it's bad for media. It's bad for entertainment. Makes it so this is obvious to everyone, I'm sure. It makes it so you have just very few groups deciding what kind of projects you're going to get or what kind of news you're going to hear or anything like that. So and Ad Age did a really good in 2027 or around there, did a really good info map of all the consolidation that was happening at that time. And it's become even worse. It's funny, if anybody knows in Universal City in Los Angeles, there's this Comcast NBC Universal entity. And one of the buildings used to just say across the top, Universal. And then it was like Universal Comcast. There's Universal Comcast NBC. It's like the fonts get really small if they pull in another company, but it's that kind of thing. And so it's not good for like the material you're going to get because you have a tiny group of people deciding. And there's a number of things that have caused that to happen. If people want to look up like the FinCEN rules when I think it was under Clinton, made those go away, which meant those rules were in place, just like the Paramount decrees for film, which I think started in the 30s. But the FinCEN rules were, they wouldn't allow a network to also produce a show. If you were either a distributor or a producer, you couldn't be both, except in the cases of news and soap operas. So when those went away in the mid 90s, when that rule went away, suddenly NBC could make NBC shows. And you had a lot of independent companies like WARNER and Whit Thomas and there's a host of them that either went away or like slowly disappeared because anyway, there's a host of reasons why that's bad. Like you're not going to get the best deal. You can't shop it around to each of the networks because it's just sitting there at that one network. And then the Paramount decrees were kind of the same thing, but with movies and movie studios and movie theaters, for anyone who doesn't know. And those went away recently. So now Netflix could buy AMC movie theaters and only play Netflix shows. Of course, they don't seem interested in the theater experience, but that's an example of what's possible now. It's too bad because, like I said, then you have the consolidation of taste and project choices, and it's not good for anyone. I feel like just taking a totally objective view and just, if someone's going to be a good buyer or not based on how the company's conducted themselves so far. And Netflix, it seems, again, not trying to be critical of anything, just looking at the facts, like Netflix seems to be just very concerned with a multitude of content versus really, caring about films and TV series. And you could say the same of a lot of the streamers, these are tech companies. They're not film studios. It's a different DNA. And so when you look at the idea of them buying the land, I'm not sure what they would do with the land exactly that Warner Brothers sits on. But the library, really, when you're buying a studio, you're looking at the library more so. And then you go, gosh, what would Netflix, I tell you, if I was Netflix, what I would do with that library. I would, for an upcharge, allow you to face replace on any Warner Brothers film. And don't forget, Warner Brothers owns other things like Gone with the Wind. That was an MGM film. Warner Brothers owns the rights. And you know what they did with it for the Sphere, right?
Things that were like
the actress was in focus in the foreground and the background's out of focus, director's choice. Somebody, they had Google come in, and either Warner Brothers executives or Google executives decided that should all be in focus.
Yeah.
They changed that, obviously broke the frame completely, and then inserted Zaslav's face and the head of the Sphere, the CEO of the Sphere, I forget his name, put their faces in the film. So you
But
look
did
at
they colorize the first 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Did they?
No, I don't think.
No, but they probably would.
They will eventually.
But you look at that and you're like, okay, like really, how far are we from the technology's there? How far are we for an upcharge? How far are we from if Netflix owned that? Maybe they wouldn't do this.
Well, this is a theory
Wouldn't
that
they say, like, for an upcharge, Chris, you can have your face on the Cowardly Lion's, body today, while you watch it, or we'll make you your own material, and Warner Brothers is never going to sue us. We can like mash up like any of their films and we can send that to you. We won't bother to copyright it because it's like Kleenex. We can make 100 of them for you a day.
well,
And
our
the whole
audience
philosophy behind it is because we can versus because we should.
Well, I heard a theory that Netflix wants the WB library because of AI, because they want the content for their AI models for people to remix.
But getting back to like what I was saying, like I know is coming down the pike.
Yeah.
Why would you want those AI models? Isn't it to make you, based on your viewing history, to make you customized films?
Right.
You can put yourself in even.
That's what it's going to be.
That's law of touch. Put yourself in the film.
It's going to kill the art of movies, the art of cinema.
The idea that you can go into locked films and break them open.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a problem. It's one thing to use it in new films, and like you guys said, maybe it becomes a category. I don't know. Maybe there's an audience for that category. But to go into locked films and break them open and just do whatever you want, and it's been happening. Yeah. It's been happening. That's a problem. That's like, why stop there? Why don't you, Jackson Pollock, some of his work, maybe you don't like the colors that he chose. Just go in there and put some paint over it. Mona Lisa. Is she smiling? She's not smiling. We're not really sure. Let's make sure she's smiling. Let's just go in and change it.
Yeah. Well, before we go, we have a lot of questions.
Go in, mess around with the Wizard of Oz. You want to go mess around with what's next? Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
We have a lot. What's coming? They don't have to wait for the very end to know what the whole film's about.
Yeah, it's we did a whole story about that Sphere thing. There's a different experience in LA that Alan just saw called the Cosm.
Yeah,
that's
Cosm.
They don't change the movie at all. They just present it in a Alan, you should
It's like
describe
Screen
it.
X, where you have the movie in the middle of the screen, but then outside of the screen, they create, like, for example, in Wonka, when they're in town, they built the entire village around the movie. As if you're watching there. And then when you're the part where you're going down the Chocolate River, you actually go down the Chocolate River. So all the images on the side is what you would have seen if you were just going down the river.
Well, how are they? What do those images look like, and what are they using to guide them? Are they using? Is it CGI? I mean, what are they?
Yeah, it's CG. It's all digital.
So they're just putting there what they imagine would have been there.
Exactly. Like
they're not anything from they're not expanding the frame from the film.
No, yeah, like the movie is clearly in the middle. They don't touch the movies. It's just what surrounds the movie, and it's like a 180 dome. Mm-hmm. So they're filling up quite a bit, and they're going to be doing Harry Potter next. So it's a way to make movies an event. That's kind of how they describe it.
Right.
Where it's a special immersive experience, a shared reality, they call it.
Well, that's kind of what they tried to do with VR, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like for a director, not fun, because the director wants you looking at only these things that are within this frame right now for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only way to direct stuff that's like that kind of all over, where you could just look all over, is through sound. Sound will get your attention whether you were paying attention or not. Visually, you have to really direct people to, I want you just looking at this.
Yeah. Well, to them, the idea is they want to choose movies that are immersive in and of themselves. You just can't do it with any movie. And and it's a premium experience, so you're gonna.
I know. What if they did it with like 12 Angry Men or something?
Yeah.
Oh, there's wood paneling over here and over here too, and there's some books. And,
Friday the 13th would be great.
Yeah, it's we're just in. I mean, the film business has always had rough times. This is unique. I think the time we're going through with AI, corporate consolidation. My hope is that, like you mentioned, VR headsets, those aren't widely popular. They have tried to do VR headsets. They did VR with Nintendo in the 90s and it bombed, called the Virtual Boy. That bombed. The Meta masks, no matter how much they change the pricing, people don't want this. The Apple version of it, Apple, the gold standard, they can't make AI or VR headsets that work. My hope is kind of AI is like that in that sense, but I believe there'll be a category. There are some people doing really interesting AI work. A guy named Damon Packard, who's been a filmmaker for decades, making underground films, has been experimenting, and the things that he has done with it are really remarkable. But it's but I don't trust the studios. I would trust an artist, not the studios. But
but I mean, you're at you can't get away from the fact that it's absolute theft.
Correct. If you owned the data sets, there's got to be an ethical way to do AI.
Okay, if you're a trillionaire,
right,
you could make your own AI model.
Yes.
You just can't. You can't train an AI model even just with the Warner Brothers library. You can place it on top of a base model, but you can't just. I mean, unless you have an incredible amount of money. I mean, there's so many problems with it. It's the energy that it uses, the water that it uses, it's so expensive. But the thing about the entertainment business or the film business specifically is it's not just that AI was kind of like coming in and putting the nail in the coffin, but there's so many all the other issues that are not issues, but changes that the film industry has had in the past, changing, the advent of television, going from black and white to color or silent to sound, all these different things, introducing VHS and DVDs and even, basic cable, premium cable, all of this still never changed the financial model of the business. You still were getting money from audience members. Every time one audience member would see a film, they would pay. Kind of get away with it. Came away from it a little bit with like premium cable. If your films, but you're still getting residuals. And also your film has gone out there and really gotten really benefited financially from the theater release and from DVD release. I mean, all kinds of things, right? So this is sort of the last place you would put it, and then you've already made the bulk of your money back. Trouble now is like, you're barely in the theater long enough to make that kind of money. Residuals are like non-existent, practically on streaming. And the idea that let's say tickets are $15 to watch a movie, and you got family 6. Each person is paying $15 to go see that movie once. And if they want to come see it again, you do it again. Instead, the idea that there'd be $15 a month for your whole household, not for 30 days, to watch 1,000 movies, anybody with even minimal mathematical understanding could see that that is not going to benefit the people who are making the films.
Yeah.
And that is the predatory pricing, the carpetbagging that these streaming companies did. And unfortunately, too many of the studios, I don't know, they thought, well, we're not going to let tech do to us what they did to the music industry. And so they started getting involved with them, and they didn't protect. This is how it looks like to me. Like, they didn't protect the financial structure that had worked for 100 years.
Yeah.
And now that financial structure is blown. Like, that is one of the primary reasons this business is in trouble. They didn't protect the financial structure. And that's why so many people, like you mentioned earlier, are having to just get out of the business.
Yeah. That's why even successful actors are doing their own liquor brand. I mean, it's
that's a whole other, it's not only the liquor brands, but just like straight up standard television commercials. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't even seem like an endorsement anymore. It's just like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Some of these actors, like you go like, wait, you're like a really successful actor right now. Like, but now you seem no different than like the Verizon guy or the State Farm guy or the Progressive lady, or what? Why? I mean, I don't know their financial situations. Maybe they needed the money, but audiences are going to bring that into a film. You know, they're going to go, oh, it's that guy from the cell phone commercial. Or,
well, to be fair, Flo from Progressive was in an indie movie directed by Bob Odenkirk that was very good called Melvin Goes to Dinner. That was before she got that gig.